Okie dokie, another exciting day in the weekend for us here. So, got a bit of a surprise update, which I'm not hating on. We did get a whole one-day heads up on this, so I guess technically it's not fully a surprise, but in any case we have another mini event slash battle pass slash whatever you're going to call it. I am going to slap this video up on Reddit because I totally forgot to for the other one, and I'm kind of lazy like that. And this way we can make sure that I've got it going to begin with. Not that very many people watch these to begin with, I'm sure, and those that do are definitely immediately grossed out with all the ranting, raving, and spreadsheeting that I do as opposed to just showing gameplay, but c'est la vie, this is very much how the streams tend to go for me. So, barring any interest in supporting it via cash donations, which is going to be kind of hard considering how I don't have any donation links up, or what would be a lot more convenient for me, the societal overthrow of the current norm, I'm probably going to keep doing these as is because I don't suspect I'm exactly going to be making a living off of it. So throw this up there, we've got the post, and now everybody can cry along in real time instead of having to wait for me to post it later today, or, you know, not at all if I forget to do so again. Basically, we're going to be looking at the new update because it's going to change a bunch of spreadsheeting things, and lo and behold, spreadsheeting is kind of what I do. So we're going to be doing a bit of that, including looking at the new mini battle pass and whatnot. So we got some of that cool new garage music going on in the background. I feel like this is the new track. Might not be, but in any case, we will dive right in on what we got. So I am going to worry about spreadsheeting the battle pass at the end because it's probably going to be the longest section, but I have done this before in relation to other seasons already, so it should be fairly straightforward for us to get the approximate value comparisons. I made a post about this. I still have some items on the list that aren't platform independent or non-fixed equivalent pricing. So yeah, this is hardly going to be a good full calculator, but at the very least we can take a look at the relative EXP calculations if there's lighters for prestige rewards, and then the very approximate value that you get from the battle pass, and then comparing it to other earlier ones, which would be the equivalent of the other paid battle passes, so Treasures of the Wasteland, Vaderkvarn, Operation Radiance, Mr. Twister, and Steel Championship. Although Steel Championship and Mr. Twister and Operation Radiance, I don't think Vaderkvarn or Treasures of the Wasteland, but these three did come with vehicle packs, so those kind of bumped up the values significantly. So if we take a look, it was, yeah, I don't even know why Mr. Twister is so much lower. I think that was the advent of the lighters, so they ended up lowering the initial value of it to offset, but I couldn't say for sure. But yeah, I'll take a look at that. It's sort of semi-pertinent because a lot of people are complaining about paying the full battle pass price, which is about $10 US, $13 Canadian, compared to the full-length battle passes, which last months and offer multiple legendaries, but aren't getting, you know, multiple legendaries. But then you also look at the relative duration of the events, and they're significantly shorter for comparatively the same amount less money, so they end up being the same money in the same time period, if that makes sense. But whatever, like I said, I was going to poke around with that later. So to begin with, there is a new mission mode. This is interesting. And slaughter. Okay, there's going to be a lot of new stuff. Alright. It's not possible by destroying all enemies. So 2 out of 3. Okay, so it's... They say control. I thought it was domination. No, I guess I'm just an idiot and it was called control. Great. So, it's control, but it's not. So, cars respawn, you have to control 2 out of 3 bases. That's interesting. There was a Reddit post this past week talking about how the base cap speeds were kind of reverted for what makes sense. So you capture a neutral base slower at about half the speed as capturing an enemy base. And people are saying that should be swapped, but you could make the argument that a enemy setting up base somewhere means that it's going to be easier to capture it because you already have the equipment there or whatever. Most other games do it the suggested way, not the current way, where capturing a enemy base first captures to neutral and then captures to friendly, so it does take twice as long to do hostile bases. So the other suggestion was, why not just have people capture all 3 bases, and then the actual time frame for capturing doesn't really matter. I have some mixed thoughts about that. I have a feeling it's currently done how it is just due to the discrepancy in speed between builds, because if you could capture neutral bases faster, then there's nothing stopping people from sending a 120 kph, like a max speed car, or even higher than that with boosters, to the enemy spawn point, or the enemy flag once the match begins, and capturing that before like the spiders or the tanks have enough time to get there. But in any case, oops. It's going to be basically control with respawn, so that's going to be interesting. Especially because it guarantees that you get Orbital Station, which is the newest map. So, unless we get new maps here. So, for anybody who hasn't gone and played on Orbital yet, who wants to do more of that, I guess this is going to be a great way to do that, since you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting in a lobby for that. So, Slaughter. This is just Team Deathmatch. So, okay, so we now have 5 game modes. Currently, that's cool. Raids are going to have more specific tracking of score. Okay. Fortress has gotten a Levolution. Nice, except once every 20 seconds is going to be absolutely fucking spammed. So let's see what that looks like. Hot. They're actually using the truck and artillery meshes now. And then you roll up, it has the Ravager hack sound. That's kind of funny. That shoots artillery, which people love. That blows shit up. Very nice. Okay, well, no complaints from me. Other than the time period might be a little cracked. I have a sneaking suspicion people are going to be more likely to just camp those than the actual OBJ. Especially on non-respawning matches. Yeah, it says it's only on encounter, so yeah, that's going to get spammed. Good to know. Parts, so this is going to be changes, just where the spreadsheeting probably comes in. Looks like most of these should be straightforward enough since we're not dealing with hundreds of durability changes, so I can actually probably do those all on screen. So that's good. Ghost improve. Wow, holy shit! This is I know we just started, but this is the best update so far. The best part update is for the Ghost specifically, because beforehand this thing was Garbo, as evidenced by my helicopter, which I've talked about quite a bit in prior streams, so I'm not going to go super in depth on it again. But basically, the Ghost has these arches on the front, and you couldn't actually put wheels there, which absolutely sucked, especially because the helicopter which it is modeled off of, which is the Mi-24, the Heine, is actually a tricycle wheel configuration, so it normally has 1 wheel in the front center and then 2 in the back, and it's kind of hard to put a wheel in the center when you can't even put one to either side of the middle here. So this was the closest I could get under the prior system, but if they actually updated this stuff, then it's possible we could slap wheels directly in those built-in fenders, or integral fenders, or whatever you want to refer to them as. Which is cool. I mean, it's not quite being able to place one in center, but oh, looks like the Xbox app decided that I'm permanently pressing the left stick, so that's not very useful. Try that again. There we go, much better. Other than audio cutting out. Everything cutting out. Great. Okay. Let me get our ghosty locks. Slap that. I guess I'm gonna have to check the 2x4. And the 4x4. So beforehand, you had to put wheels outside of the fender. So depending on the size of the wheel, you wouldn't even be able to put them like there. You'd have to like throw them further out, but it looks like, according to them, now we should be beautiful. It's not quite perfect. It's not exactly what I want, but damned if it isn't so much better than what it was. I assume it's probably not going to play nice with trying to put it in center. Nope. But that's nothing new, especially considering the mesh. They basically have to get rid of this entire like lip here, which I'm not saying I wouldn't be against, especially because I don't think there's anything in the mesh that requires it. It is kind of a footwell, so never mind. I guess they can't really just chop it out unless they rework the inside, but it'd be nice if they did, because then I could just have the centered tricycle wheel configuration again. We can even go itty bittier with the low clearance wheels now. Look at that. Phenomenal. This is exactly what we need. Look at the little buddy go. Great, okay, so I'm gonna have to update the MIG build, which is gonna be kind of hard considering how we don't have a helicopter propeller anymore. But, yeah, stuff to keep in mind, I guess. What do we got to do? Shop stuff. Oh, it's just the Foxy secret stuff, yeah. So you can see, actually, the deluxe edition is cheaper than the regular deluxe, and the level is cheaper than regular levels, but this is, I'm pretty sure, identical to the regular Battle Pass price. So that's interesting. But we'll get to that, we're not there yet. So we'll check the other update stuff. So bumpers, it's interesting. I wonder if they're differentiating between bumpers and passive melee weapons, because they are technically two different categories. But we'll take a peek. So we've got our structural parts, which I haven't even finished updating or put in the structural part calculator. I actually had a link to this. I posted this image separately online and then linked to it because I haven't updated the separate part calculator since that's a public file and I didn't want to poke around with stuff while I'm rearranging it. And now this thing that I posted literally yesterday in response to somebody's question is now immediately outdated, so that's fun. In any case, we'll take a look at the stuff. So bumpers historically have had no or little ram damage bonus, while as the passive melee weapons have had significant amounts. So I'm interested to see if they touched on both, or if it's just the one. The fact that they labeled impact bumper specifically as an outlier from the 80%, 90% differentiation, and not the cutter, which also has that, leads me to believe that they're probably referring to bumpers specifically, which is the tougher parts people are using for armor. But I'm just going to do this. Oops, not that one. And that. And then I'm going to take a quick peek in the inventory to see if that's actually correct. Go all the way down to bumpers. We got our 80%, 50%, 80%. Nice. Yeah, these are all 80, so I'm assuming that they weren't incorrect with the impact bumpers. 70%, still 25% on 20%, so I don't think they changed that as per they said they weren't going to. The rest of these values, namely durability, I'll have to double check because I know Bang Shield pointed out a bunch of them actually changed an update or two ago for no discernible reason whatsoever. Well, I guess if I had to guess, it's probably just to offset the different damage reductions that are now innate with factions, but these are just positive. They simply reduce the amount of damage something takes and therefore increases their effective health, while the durability value also went up, which doesn't make sense because that would be not counteracting the change but making it even more severe of a increase in durability. So I don't know, I'll have to double check that, but I think all of these are correct now. We'll just double check the passive melee weapons though. 90%, yeah, 90%, 90%, then the cutter's still 80%, so yeah, they just touched on the bumpers. So that's interesting, because like I said, these values aren't necessarily all correct anymore. I can't guarantee any degree of effective comparison, but we can look at things, and effectively, as Glyph the Griff, I believe it was, pointed out in the original planned update changes, they originally plan on reducing it from 90% damage resistance to 65% resistance. What that means is their effective health significantly tanks. So for instance, when it's 90%, it's just the value times this is weird. Why is this not 1/10? I feel like I'm losing my mind. With 90% resistance, you take 1/10 the resistance, so your effective health should be 10 times, but it's not giving me that. It's giving me... Oh, I'm an idiot. It's because I was looking at the power score. Nice. Okay. So yeah, originally with the 90% damage resistance, 857 health, for instance, on the freight train plow, which is the highest, I think, single part durability sans weapons or cabin. Maybe even including cabins, because I think the cohort's only like 660. In any case, it takes it from 857 health to 8570 effective health, and then if they reduced it to 65, it was a significant drop. You basically lost 2/3 of the effective health because of how the margin works. Basically, beforehand, you were taking 10% damage, and then bumping up to 35% damage, so 3.5 times the damage, whereas simply just doubling the amount of damage taken / having their effective is just affected by giving it 10% less damage reduction, so doubling the amount of damage that isn't reduced. So now that it's 80%, it's half that. So by moving it simply by 10%, they halved the effective melee health of all of those bumpers. So that is, I definitely think, the better way to go about doing it. Somebody was also asking about damage mitigation earlier, so I posted that again, because somebody else posted mostly the right answer, but they still had some stuff with it wrong. So I'm sure I'll probably have to, I have to revisit this anyway, as part of Operation Armor and doing damage mitigation in the armor min-max, especially now that we have the Pegasus engine, but yeah, isn't math fun? So yeah, booping things should be twice as easy, basically, other than for the impact bumper. It should be 50% easier, but it was already a outlier because it had that lower damage resistance to begin with. So even beforehand, it had only 3 times its effective base health, and that's bad math. 4 times ish. It's base health, 5 times ish. It's base health, and now it got dropped down to 2.5 times. So funny how math do that. You have a value and it doubles another value. But in any case, what I was getting at is, despite having a higher original durability than a lot of the other bumpers, and having a damage pass-through, because the lower melee damage resistance is not affected by damage pass-through, you end up with a relatively low health compared to these other bumpers. Especially if you compare ones with literally lower initial values, the lower reduction leads to similar overall values, or again, lower than some of them. Great. Next. Okay, so I'm just going to toss this up on the other screen, and then for weapons I can just increase the ammo count for them easy enough. Pretty straightforward there, isn't it? Pretty much everything went. All turret cannons are now 14. Okay. Which is interesting, because the elephant was at 14 beforehand, so now they all are equivalent to it. So that's good, especially because the Fat Man just pisses through ammo, since its whole shtick is reloading faster but having less initial damage. So I guess I might as well show the changes for this. So we can look at all of them beforehand. The little boy had 12, the Hulk had 12, then the Fat Man, Mammoth, and Mastodon had 10, while the Elephant had 14. So this is a buff to all of them except for the Elephant, a minor one for the Hulk and Judge, and a major one, relatively speaking. I mean, 4 shells isn't a lot, but once you add those, you know, multiplications for the crates and whatnot, it is for the other ones. And then likewise, the regular cannons went from 10 to 12 shells, so the Avenger is untouched, so it still has a dummy amount of shells, I guess. But the rest of these all went up. It doesn't look like there was a ammo count outlier for cannons beforehand, while there was with, like I said, the Elephant. But it looks like they're normalizing it and increasing it, which I'm not complaining about. But it's interesting that they feel that it's necessary with the addition of the penetration changes. I'm going to double check the Avalanche, because it's technically not a cannon, it's listed as a mortar. And if they just tweak the value in a spreadsheet, it's possible they didn't touch on it. Yeah, so it's a mortar. It's classified as a cannon, but its subclass is mortar, so its ammo is still 10. So that's going to be a very important thing that I'm sure people are going to pull up multiple times, and when they do, I'm just going to direct them towards this video and say, well, I guess you should have been watching my stream that was live at, 9 a.m. on a work day. Alright, let's see. Penetration on Prosecutor went up. I haven't played around with any of these yet, so honestly this isn't anything that I will be able to offer much opinion on. I have been on a bit of a hiatus, just doing the dailies for the Battle Pass. So Executioner 30%, and then they upped the durability. The Prosecutor one makes sense though, since the they're just having one hell of a time balancing these two, honestly. The thing is, because for a long time this had 2-pin penetration, so did this, so is the point of using this, especially when its model is like 3 times the fucking size of it. And then they separated it, so now it's back to 2-pin, 1-pin, although it's already changed 5 times in the last fucking year. So it makes sense that they had to scale up the penetration on it. However, they also buffed this, so now it has more pin penetration and more penetration. So it seems like this is entirely outclassed, although again, it's a lot smaller, a lot more compact. You could probably argue that there's a significant benefit from using that, especially, power score. And for it being literally 2 or 3 times the size, the effective increase in durability not being super effective, but I guess we'll have to see. Elephant. Oh, nice. This is a lie. It was already the best epic cannon, especially considering the whole Executioner Prosecutor bullshit. The Fat Man was terrible compared to it already, since it had higher accuracy, it had the damage resistance, it had more range, had more accuracy. So I think honestly the only difference is this had less damage per second, which made sense because it was meant to be more of an attrition turret cannon as opposed to the brawler type. And I simped for it for like 1.5 years, and I still do, but I don't really use it anymore since I now have legendaries. So I kind of feel like it's unlikely that this is the case. I mean, I guess maybe in PC PvP specifically, I don't know, but I'm not going to say no to updates to it either. So it is, I don't have any stats for damage or damage or accuracy, so it's easy enough to just ignore those. 100% penetration though, so that puts it on the same place as the Whirl, the Arathron, the Helicon, crossbows, flamethrowers. So that's interesting. So like we were talking about with the whole like difference between 90% and 80%, it's kind of the same way, but in reverse. Where like 100% penetration might actually be fairly significant. So we're gonna have to see though, because again I haven't really played around with these. I'm not gonna pretend I know that for sure. Tsunami and Typhoon were buffed to 75%, and honestly this doesn't surprise me either, because again this is an entirely new system that literally didn't exist before, at least not since I started playing, so them tweaking these values after isn't exactly a shock to me. 10%, right? The Mammoth, they changed its scaling, so kind of want to poke around with it again, but it kind of went burr on price, because of course it did, since everybody and their mom saw this update list in the plan changes and then bought it. Cricket, they increased. Barrier, they nerfed significantly. Why it's still considered a weapon, I don't understand, but whatever. I don't think they list the duration here though, so I don't actually know how long it lasts. I'm gonna guess like 8 seconds-ish. I don't know. I'm gonna record these new values though. After 2 seconds, or I guess 2 seconds after activation, drops a X, because I don't know the value. HP shield. Field for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds, question mark. And 25-second cooldown. And then it also has decreased explosive damage resistance, but I don't know what the value is, so since I already had to update the spreadsheet to include all the damage resistance and damage reduction, blah blah blah, it's basically a minus on the explosive, and I don't know what the value is, so I'm just not going to poke around with that at the moment. Synthesis, penetration, significantly increased. Again, only really effective against like the very explicit builds that penetration affects, but if they theoretically run a spaced armor build and you get a glancing blow so that the additional damage just goes into open space beside them, it doesn't hit their main build, then in theory you're now dealing, I guess, 3 times the amount of damage as opposed to being stopped by the first part, but I don't really think that'll necessarily be significant. I guess we'll see. Helios also got buffed to 30%. Interestingly, the Prometheus was not. Oh no, I just scrolled too far. Nice. Okay, so the entire line got 30%, and then the Helios also got a slight damage buff, as if it needed it, man. Dude, Helios was already crazy melting, especially of specifically Bastion builds. So I don't even think. Assuming that the price on the Helios also went burr. Yeah, it looks like they might clamps back down, so I might have to repick those up and go gank on some Steppenwolf raid peeps. Guess we'll see. Still 1 damage reduced. Yeah, it deserved that like a year and a half ago. Cyclone, they buffed the absolute living hell out of it, which was funny because it already outperformed Retchers and Porcupines in hard raids, but you know what, I'm not complaining. It was also a menace in PvP, so I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of those. Anyway, so the fire rate increases, takes longer to reach max. I'm assuming they did the, I don't have the graph in front of me for looking at like fire rate overall, but I'm assuming that they did this so that your average fire rate is now higher, but they took longer to reach it so that you don't overheat as fast, so that you can still hit the max fire rate on one radiator. But that's just me speculating. I don't know that that's necessarily the case for sure. Cyclone durability went up. Excellent. Draco, Firebug, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Penetration, Capcan now has a 2-second mind delay. Also weird that it's a weapon, but whatever. Tethers nearby enemies after a 2-second delay. Aspect increase. Oh, nice. Oh, it's the same with the Mammoth. Yeah, okay. So they're just changing the scaling of it. Maybe it'll be more popular now. I don't know. Wasn't really to begin with. So 0 to 30% increased damage for 0 to 100% overheat. See, and in my chart, I actually had it recorded as 50% overheat damage, so I don't know if I maybe just missed a couple of updates for updating that, or they just are touching things and they don't end up putting everything in the patch notes because they forget whatever. Not really a fan of this change to the Pulsar because it's, again, a less unique perk, but whatever. Still interesting, so plus 30% damage to modules. And it also doesn't have a projectile drop. And admittedly, having it be larger overall, yeah, barely affected it. Honestly, what you could do is scale it up though, because before it was a 0.25 meter projectile size increase for every 100 meters, which is like at most 2 meters, so like 6 pips at extremely far range. They could have just probably upped that faster, but maybe they just didn't find a good curve where it felt fair at all ranges. I don't know. Parser nerfed also. Super overdue. But they're still not nerfing the destructors. Okay, Scorpion, they are rebalancing. So a lot of this is just rebalancing the curves on the effectiveness of things relative to the amount of whatever the variable is for their dependency for their perks. So they changed the aspect, they changed the cyclone, so they should be equivalent. They've nerfed the Scorpion, and then they completely redid the Pulsar's perk. So, I'm not opposed to it. Kind of weird they're doing all these at the same time, though. Like, they just realized, oh hey, we can actually tweak things by tweaking the average effectiveness of it and the curve, rather than the overall effectiveness of it by just increasing damage or something. But like, they should have been aware of that beforehand. I don't know, maybe they just didn't have the go-ahead to do so until recently, and they just did a massive update on all of it. I don't know. Anyway, reloading time is now 5.5, which isn't, that's Mabinogi, that's not relative to this. I almost just clicked it again. Whatever, reload time is 5.5. Yeah. Let's fall off is 6% quicker, nice. Harvester got a completely different perk, which I'm also not really super big fan of, but the 35% increased damage to debuff parts wasn't like huge, but made it really hard to rationalize using anything other than a Tesla or a flamethrower. But honestly, I kind of vibed for that, so now you're going to see a lot of double, triple harvesters again, I think. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because they're equivalent amounts of energy cost, and now they're effectively doubling the amount of melee health they have, whereas beforehand, since the Harvester has a dummy thick amount of health compared to the Flamethrower or the Spark, you could theoretically degun them easier. Now, you're not going to be able to, but on the other hand, you're hopefully maybe not going to be debuffed as much. But in my eyes, instead of having a Flamethrower, Spark, or Flash, and then Harvester, you might be looking at 2 Harvesters and getting rid of one of those. I don't know. And if they didn't, if they were running 2 Harvesters and a Spark/Flash and a Flamethrower to begin with, then this is just a straight buff to them. Although obviously, I mean, there's like trade-offs for not using like a Cloak or an Engine or the Torment or anything, but whatever. So this is now plus 30 to 210% damage for 1 second of constant contact. It looks like it just minus that 30% for every second after. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Articles about Project Paladin. Okay, in-game guide, that's good. Now the parameter is effective range because the scale reflects the average indicator between the optimal and maximal. That's interesting. I don't know if they actually change anything significantly. I wasn't recording the range stats on weapons to begin with, so I'm not actually so sure what the amount of change is. The fact that it's called, or the fact that they have it labeled as a name change seems to indicate they didn't change the actual values on the weapons. So it's possible that none of those have changed, but now they're just specifying what it is. At the same time, it's kind of weird, because that means if something has an effective range of 5 and a max range of 10, or optimal of 5 and max range of 10, then that means the effective range would list it as 7.5, which isn't really a true indicator of either of those. But I guess I'm not hating on it either. It kind of makes sense, but I'm sure if I want to actually go about like recording those, you're going to get some pretty wonky values as a result of them being halfway between 2 different values, which are probably going to be completely independently balanced on a weapon by weapon basis. Fuel tank is displayed with a choice of fuel. What? What does that even mean? Fuel tank. well, my fuel tank's full, so it might be kind of hard to showcase that right now, but in any case, they didn't have another window here. Sorry, they did, and now they don't, so I suspect they're saying they just removed that for when you're at full. Well, no, I don't know if maybe it was already not showing there when it's full. I'll have to double check at some other point. I don't think that's going to be part of this video unless I feel like doing like a mission in here, so whatever, updated the icon of the clans. Okay, I guess technically they made it a flame icon rather than a banner icon. I mean, I'm not hating it, I guess, but that's kind of a weird change, whatever. The display of events related to the clan and to the notification. Okay, well, I don't do anything with the clan, so I'm not going to notice anything like that. So we got a new thing, which I think I was saying was in the garage earlier. Sound effects, it's funny. Sound balance, I guess we'll see. Sounds of engines and wheel movement. Well, we can check that out. Let's see. Although I don't have any before or after to compare, so it's going to be kind of hard to do so, but I guess it helps to see if I have the cabin engine sound. So I'll turn that off. And then we slap big boy. With some itty bitty wheels for the comedic effect of it. And then we'll try out the engines. So base, which is the one I'm used to since I just use the cabin engine sound. And then I don't have the Razorback, but we can check all the other ones. Dunhorse. Probably be better if half this wasn't just the vehicle bottoming out and scraping on the ground though. So I guess we will do away with the comedically sized wheels. Then of course, because I just use the cabin engine sound, I don't even know what the difference for most of these are, but anybody watching might be able to figure out. That thing peeks out so really funny. Yeah, I like the sound of that one. It doesn't last very long though, since you accelerate really quickly. Maybe with people who are actually running a bunch of tracks on it or something. And that one's kind of growly. Oh damn, that thing sounds good. That definitely sounds like a fucking legendary. Okay, well that answers that, other than the Razorback, which or whatever. I don't know. You know, updated the appearance of the Wasp rocket launcher, that's interesting. Oh, what did they do? Do I even have any Wasp? Nope. I honestly could not tell you what changed. I can tell you that that's not the mesh it was yesterday. I couldn't tell you what the difference is. I think it's honestly just this back part. I think they changed that, but I'm fairly confident that the front pretty much looked exactly like this, except for maybe not having a wire poking out. And then though, I mean, it's just a cosmetic change anyway, so I think in theory it shouldn't affect anything as far as building weapons, but we'll see, because depending on the placement of the tubes and if that changed at all, could be a factor, but it doesn't sound like it was meant to be. Alright, special visual effect that accompanies the negative effects by energy, weapons, and hardware. What? I'm assuming they're saying that they specifically have different effects now rather than just the like tasery effect beforehand. So let's see if we can... I'm assuming that when they say the visual effect, they're specifically talking about like the outside screen border, and thus I wouldn't see it unless I fought something that had it, but we'll see if it works against like the test vehicle. No, I guess not. So I'd have to go get tased by somebody, I think. Which would be kind of hard to do in the garage. I'm also going to turn that other sitting back on. I mean, I can test with the other energy weapons, I guess, but I don't expect to see a huge difference. Yeah, it's the same. That's the same. So it's got to be like the border effect, I guess. Which I can't really test on myself unless I go in PvP, which again, there's no guarantee I'll find people with those, so... Update suspension models. Okay. That's cool. The visual effects of low durability to melee weapon, that's nice. So that means that the harvester will now visually appear damaged, which is super convenient because that wasn't the case beforehand, which made it kind of hard to tell if or when you needed to like back off or heal or whatever, which means the master harvester meta will come back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see, boop. Does it just start like fuming like other stuff? Oh, there's some sparks there. Okay, so they just applied the same effects to it as with any other weapon, but I'm not hating on it. Would kind of like to see some like black smoke or something, like as if something was like stuck in the blades and like, well, smoking, but whatever. So suspension for, what is this, for the small starter, so all the small wheels basically. But I honestly, again, don't know if I could tell you what the difference for them is. They could have just like not said they changed it and I wouldn't have known. But it looks like they kind of just unified them actually. That's not one of those. Is the starter wheel was the other one. It looks like they all just have the same suspension now, which I'm not hating because it makes it a little bit more obvious that they're meant to be like approximately the same size. So if I just slap down a fucking line of these, you know, snort a row of wheels as one does. Yeah, so they just have identical meshes now. Which I'm not hating, because it should also mean that armoring them is a little bit more intuitive. If they all have the same size, then they should all behave similarly around fenders and whatnot, but we'll have to see whether or not that's actually the case. I once again don't really use wheels a whole lot, and I certainly don't use the blue and white wheels, so whatever. Incomplete load. I didn't run into that before, but okay. The visual effects. Pellet flight for the parser. Okay, that makes sense, because beforehand the parser... Is this saying what I think it's saying? It seems to imply that beforehand the projectiles for it were invisible, so it was kind of hard to know where the shots landed, if that makes sense. Even though you'd know that it would actually land. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, they didn't have those. I mean, it doesn't really feel like a bug, because again, those things have been out for like, what, a year, 2 years? But beforehand, you didn't have those little, it's more obvious when I do the charge shot, you didn't have those beams before. So that's good. It's like a mini laser, almost too, which is kind of fun. But that wasn't a thing before, so. I think that's a feature change, guys. I don't think that's a bug fix, but okay. Mounted cannon, so that's muzzle pass between two auto cannons. Very weird. As they're just saying they tightened up the collision on those. Okay. Painting mat, whatever, I don't use paint. What? I also don't use paint for that. Alright, paint direction. I wasn't even aware that was a thing. Okay. Power plant bug with the incinerators on the volcano map. Could dim the screen, that's funny. Okay. Dim the screen, alright. Brake light was activated all the time. Oh yeah, I did run into that before. That wasn't a huge thing though. Could be triggered with a volley of multiple projectiles, although it could only be triggered on the next volley after. They're saying like if you shot a cricket, since it has a volley of 5, you could charge the perk with the first 2 shots hitting and then activate it with the remainder of the volley, even though it should only apply to the next volley, but due to it having a 4-second duration applying to the entire next volley. So that's good, that's a nice quality of life one. The car from this pack to be split, I don't know what that means. Painting mask, okay. To the pack. Lead, it sounds like a PC thing. Placement of missions back on patrol. Oh, that's funny too. Yeah, I didn't know if that was a feature or not, but they swapped them. So on the map for, like, I mean, this UI is still relatively new, but it used to be scrap and then copper, and then last update it became copper and then scrap, and now it's back to scrap and copper. So it's kind of a weird one, but whatever. Improved a bunch of stuff they're not going to go over, which is okay, because it's probably a lot of stuff. But on the other hand, I don't feel like scrolling through the entire game's inventory to find out what changed, so I'm just not going to bother with it. Actually, that's a lie. I am, specifically for tracks, because they incorporated a bunch of new perks, and then they didn't make it, they didn't give half of them fucking icons. So let's see, I don't think this is gonna show anything for the Goliath, but we'll see if we can get some sort of icon from it. It's just a passive and it's permanent, so yeah, no icon for that, big shocker. Okay, we had the, hate when this list does it. That's a passive, so it shouldn't show. Small track did not have one. Now it should. I'm gonna need a faster cabin. I guess I could always just do that. No, that doesn't even get me to 80. Even with the Phobos co-driver does it. Get me close. But not quite there. So let's slap on speedier cabin. Maybe this has an icon now. Yay! Nope, that's the oppressor icon actually. So they do not have an icon for the small tracks, which are the ones that needed an icon amongst others. Assuming that it didn't just not show since the weapon wasn't on it. It does not. Yay! Okay, well that's one that they just neglected. Great. I don't suppose they added one for the tank track either, which is the other new one that needed it, huh? I doubt it, but let's find out. Beautiful. So I go 60 and then I lose most of my armor. Oop. And now I can go 70, but they still don't have an icon for that either. So the two things, one area of things that actually needed the update, they didn't apply the update to. That's always fun. So who knows what that update was actually specific to. That's good. Okay, so now we go on to the actual main importante thing of this, which is the Battle Pass. Let's see, challenges, one main, one additional. So I'm assuming it means one event specific, one non-event specific, but I guess we'll find out. Choosing the path, yeah, whatever. Okay, so let's see what that's about. Oh, and there's a crafting bench. Whack. Oh boy. Market goes burr, baby. It goes burr. Oh, at least this is crafting a fused one, so actually it shouldn't be a factor, because this is used in the Battle Pass. But I like how they actually have the upgrade and downgrade arrows. No, that's cool. So now they're just saying, hey, you don't like your Battle Pass exclusive one? Oh, I guess this isn't the Battle Pass exclusive one. That's weird. Is this the same role as the other one? Mass delay, mass limit? Yes. Okay, well, you lost me. This is weird. Why would you... So you could downgrade specifically the one that you can craft, but you can't downgrade specifically the one that you could have gotten from the prior event, because it has a different fusion. Alright, weird. What else we got for crafting? Yeah, the Omamori. So the Omamori is probably going to go stonks. Or not stonks, rather. Yep, there it goes, crashing again. Shocker. Vindicator. Whatever. They've always kind of been cheap, so. Griffin. This weird crafting bench. It's basically just Omamori and then a bunch of other filler stuff that doesn't really matter. The screen does not like this right now. It's kind of funny. Whatever. Anyway, so rewards we've got. Oh, well, there's our answer. It's because we get the stuff from in here. So if you don't like Threshers or Guardians, or I'm guessing a Griffin. It doesn't even look like we get a Griffin. Then this is just not a very good Battle Pass, honestly. What the fuck? This is just a bunch of re-release stuff, isn't it? Oh, well, you can't trade those. That's kind of funny. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it right now. This is probably terrible value. But we'll open up the spreadsheet and find out. So... There's going to be a paid event. Paid event number 6. Foxy Secrets started today. I guess I'm just going to add a day before it for the sake of it having the right number of challenges, because it, you know, we should have a set of challenges now, although I haven't checked. And then we'll have one for every day after. Oops. Then when does it end? It ends in 34 days and 8 hours, which is to say reset time. And 34 days. Today, plus 34. So, August 16th, 2023. That gives us 35 days worth of challenges. Grand. So the challenges are... These are actually both generic challenges, so that's actually not too bad. That's nice. So an 1100 and a 350. So this is consistent with earlier ones for daily and daily additional. And then we should have that per week, and the total will be that. It includes the +1. So we can actually... just have the correct date since it started on the 13th. So I was just saying that if you add those up, you get 1450, and we have 35 sets of challenges. So you get 50,750 EXP, 1,000 EXP per level, which is to say every day gives you a level up and then partial partial level up if you also do the additional challenge. We start at level 1, and then buying the pass will probably give us 1. I'm gonna just double check because they're not consistent at all. Foxy secrets, access to all new additional levels. No, so it does not. Okay, so I can actually show you because they include it in the description this time, but they don't always. So this says it immediately unlocks the next level, which is to say you get +1 level when you buy it. This does not specify. So suffice to say, like other paid events, it's probably actually still 0. And then assuming that they have full sets, I guess I should check because it'll tell us how many we have. Yeah, so it says 34 challenges in queue, so we get 1 per day. So a lot of prestiges. Except I'm wrong because the actual last level is 50 now. There we go, that makes a lot more sense. Sorry, the last level is 49 and then 50 is the prestige level. So yeah, 2 levels past that. So 2 prestiges, and the prestige is a unfused, oops, M25 Guardian. Okay, so that's the math on this stuff. Now we get to do. That one is 49. I just want to copy that. Holy Motors, enemy amendment, great. And do the breakdown. But this is going to be by far the longest section of the video because it takes a while to spreadsheet this. So you've been warned. Hide that, and then we will wipe this. So that's all zeroed out, and then it is now Foxy secrets, which should update, yeah, the information there, great. And now we can actually go through the rewards. So, I don't know what the best, I'm going to point myself more ST while I talk about this. I'm not sure what the best way to show this on stream is, because normally I just do this by myself, so I'll have the game open on one screen, and then this on the other, and then I'll be able to just type in the values, but I don't know if it would be better to have the battle pass or the spreadsheeting on the screen. Probably just do the battle pass, because hopefully you guys can trust that I can actually enter in this information properly on the other screen. Oh, except Xbox is angy like that, I forgot. Damn it, Xbox. This is not a feature improvement. Whatever. This should work. So level 1 is a paid level, and it gives us 1 fused. Special item level 2 is free, and it gives us 2 strategic reserves. Level 3 is another guardian. Level 4 is free, gives us 2 special stickers. Level 5 is paid and gives us 75 coins. Level 6 is paid and gives us a upgraded epic. Level 7 is free and gives us 100 engineer badges. Level 8 is paid and gives us a special paint. Level 9 is free and gives us 2 special decor. Level 10 is the upgrade blueprint. What kind? It is a seasonal upgrade blueprint, and it is paid. Seasonal upgrade blueprint. blueprint. Okay, level 11 is free and gives us 2 special workbench coupons. Level 12 is paid and gives us another thresher. Level 13 is free for 2 special stickers. Level 14 is free and gives us, I'm assuming it's military reserve. Yep, they do like tossing those around nowadays. 15 paid, 75. 16 free, epic paint. 17 paid, 2 epic stickers. Oops, I selected paint for that one. 2 epic stickers. 18 is another paid seasonal upgrade blueprint. 19 is free, 100 engineer badges. 20 is paid, 2 epic decor. Free military reserve. Paid thresher. 2 free epic stickers. Then the paid seasonal upgrade blueprint for the thresher. 2 free stickers. I should also mention all these are items that have been priorly released, so anybody who's around beforehand or doesn't care for doing the upgrades for like Vindicators or Omamori, or who wants more threshers, this battle pass is basically a wash. So I don't really know what their plan is for that. I guess maybe just being more newbie friendly. At least these original challenges, the initial ones, are just like get 10 fuel and deal 1,000 damage. Those ones are very newbie friendly. Epic. Then the upgrade blueprint. Which is paid. So I said it's a seasonal blueprint, but it's not. It's a seasonal upgrade blueprint. Or is it technically crafting? Because you are... No, it is a crafting blueprint. Whoops. So trombone and guardian are upgrade. Then the thresher is actually a crafting blueprint because it requires the guardians. And then the griffin is technically a crafting one because it requires the other items. Might have to differentiate further, add additional columns, because right now I have permanent blueprint, which they don't do anymore, work pieces, which they don't do anymore, seasonal blueprint, seasonal upgrade blueprint, but I don't have a seasonal downgrade blueprint, which is basically what some of these are. So I'll have to figure out a new system for that, I think, at some point, but whatever, not an immediate concern. Anyway, back to the reward track. $150 badges for free. Oh, that's new. I don't know what it is. Ball lightning. Okay. So far, 1 new item. 1 decor. Paid paint. That one was from the Syndicate Battle Pass. That one's actually really old, corporate style. So I guess there's that. So I don't know how I'm going to categorize the downgrade blueprints. Sans just adding the new column. I think I'm going to have to do that, and then I'm going to have to go back and do that for other battle passes because I was stubborn and didn't. So that's cool. So we got our seasonal downgrade blueprint. No, yeah, blueprint, yeah. And then I have to update the chart for those, although the question is how much value is it, and I mean on top of the obvious earlier answer of I still don't know, it's like I don't even know how to go about calculating it for those items specifically, but whatever, we have it. So that's going to be our downgrade blueprint. Is a legendary downgrade blueprint at level 32, and it is paid. Then 33 is also, wow, look at that, 30 to 34 are all paid. Sucks to be people not buying the event. Oh. So 33 is, what is this, an upgrade or a crafting? Technically it is a crafting. So it is a seasonal legendary blueprint. $34 is also paid for 100 coins. Yeah, 35 is free. It is, I think, a humanitarian aid. $36 is going to be a paid downgrade for Epic. 37 is going to be free. 200 badges. 38 is another paid downgrade. 39 is 2 paid legendary stickers. 40 is going to be a paid storage expansion. 41 is going to be a free humanitarian aid. 42 is 125 paid coins. 43 is 250 free engineer badges. 44 is a hangman, which is a legendary decor. 45 is the Omamori, which is a crafting paid seasonal blueprint. Seasonal legendary. 46 is going to be 125 paid coins. 47 is free 300 engineer badges. 48 is the paid seasonal downgrade. 49 is 50 free coins, and then the prestige is going to be that count. And then it's not actually coins anymore. It is now 1/2 of an upgraded item. So it is that times 0.5 of a special upgraded icon, since it's not an upgraded item. So effectively 1 upgraded item worth. Okay, so this is the totals it gives me when you add all those up. I think somebody was saying they also extended the recipe for the Helicon, because it did, oh, they changed it to another temporary one. Oh my god, these guys. So Heather prices are going to go brr, probably, even though the Omamori is going to crash, or relatively crash. But they changed what the Helicon needs. So it's, yeah, I couldn't tell you what resources changed. I think they changed out them. I know it was batteries before, but I think it was this. I think it was the electronics, copper, uranium, and batteries, but just half the cost. And now it's different resources, other than still 300 uranium more. But I wouldn't swear by that. In any case, basically, what, so 15,000, probably another 15,000 by the time we're done. That's it. So yeah, the price basically hasn't changed, just the items that are needed for it. So that's a thing, I guess. So I guess I'll also add that as a seasonal upgrade. Nope, that's technically a seasonal crafting blueprint. Can I just shove all these columns over? I don't think that's going to cause an issue. Because I should have had... No, because they did actually have the upgrade blueprint for the other one. So... yeah, they had the Helicon as a seasonal crafting blueprint for this. Although it's not technically part of the event, but it kind of is. I'm just not going to include it because, again, it doesn't really have any inherent value for calculating the spreadsheet. So if we hide all these, then we can look at the relative value of stuff. So assuming that you buy it, and then of course some of these are still not listed, so for instance the value of a seasonal blueprints aren't determined yet. Some of these are going to be specific to Xbox, namely the stabilizers, but they aren't giving us any stabilizers this time around. Or the value of the crates due to the cost of the items. Plus the fact that these are definitely weighted. They're not a 1 in 6 chance of getting uranium, so who fucking knows what the weight on this even is. So, like I said, these values are definitely not going to be perfect. And then a lot of these are based off of like my findings for this, which aren't completely figured out either, unfortunately. But yeah, the estimation is that it'll be worth about 14,000. But then of course you take a look, and the items you get from the battle pass you can use to then craft like Memoria or whatnot. So it's actually going to be potentially higher, but in any case it's going to be similar to the other prior paid ones using the same system, which is the Fodderkvarn and the Treasures of the Wasteland. They did the same thing. You got your partial ones, and then you used them to make other stuff. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything of importance here. So let's do quick maths and see if they actually give us enough to make the thing that people want to make. So, what are we going to do? We're going to open up the spreadsheet again, actually. Do some maths. So, oh my god, it's different from each of them, of course it is. Okay, so Omamori requires 4 thresher, 1 trombone. Move this. Thresher, trombone, I'll move this over because I guarantee this is going to be the Guardian. And then we'll move it over again because we know that we're going to have the base of it, and it's at least going to be the Guardian as well. It's probably going to include the others, but Omamori is 4 and 1. Vindicator is 5 trombones. Griffin is 4 and 1. So this is also upgraded. Thresher is going to be 3 Guardians. Trombone is going to be 2 trombone. Oh, okay. So we're going to get stonks on trombone prices as well. Especially because I don't think this battle pass gives them out. So the supply for that is going to get destroyed. Not like people are going to use a whole lot of trombones, but on 1 pro Memoria it's going to add up. Then Guardian is going to be 2 bass trombones. Look at that nice little waterfall. So if you want to do this, the Omamori, because I don't see why people want to do trombones, because it'd be what, plus resources, which I'm not even calculating here. Should I? Shit, I mean I have the spreadsheet for them anyway, so why not? So actually the only one that requires it is the trombone and the guardian, since they're considered fusions. So we have our wires, electronics, copper, plastic. Trombone requires 300, 100, 600, 100. Guardian requires 250 wires, 150 those. So this is just gonna get deleted after this little calculation because it's season specific and I don't generally preserve those. But just for the sake of people having this information, even if it's just a shitty cropped picture of this video. See. There we go. Okay. So I'm just gonna double check that the Battle Pass doesn't actually give us trombones, because I know a few prior ones have, and I'm sure those are gonna get bought up really, really fucking fast. In fact, let's see. How's the price gone? Oh yeah, they fucking immediately jumped up because the update's been out for a few hours. Probably 7-ish, I think it was. So yeah, they immediately got all bought the fuck up. So I guess good on me for hoarding a few of them and having no desire to use them in the event. Or buy the Battle Pass because it fucking sucks. Here for me, money. Cozy up even higher, even more stonks, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so our total values would actually be like these plus the prior ones, wouldn't it? Rough. So our total for this would be, I don't want to do this. I guess just do it the lazy way. So we need 4 threshers. One trombone, and each thresher requires 3 upgraded guardians. So your totals for it would be 4 times the thresher, which is going to be 12 upgraded guardians. Break that down into 12 times 2, so 24 base ones, and then those. And then 1 trombone, which is going to be 2 of those, so that times 1. And then we're going to add that. So that's going to be the total you need for 1 Omamori, for instance. And then for what they give us in the Battle Pass, they actually give us, oh shit, let's see. 2 upgraded guardians, 1 thresher, another thresher, another thresher, oops. And then the guardians, so then you might get like 2 unupgraded guardians, which I'll put there because whatever. This is a horrible way of me representing this, but hopefully it still kind of makes sense. So you'd be able to get, with your resources, you'd have 2 guardians that you could then fuse into a 3rd guardian, so you basically get 3 guardians, although you will have to pay that cost once, the 250 plus 150. So you have 3 guardians, you can fuse the 2 guardians into 1, so you can make 4 threshers and then have 1 guardian left over, 1 fused guardian. And then you'll need to buy or make or whatever the trombone. So you'd have that cost, which would be, so this is going to be the cost for just getting it from scratch. But with the battle pass, for 1, you just need to pay that cost plus that cost, and then yeah, they already give you the 4 threshers. Oh, my math on this was bad, sorry. So it was 3, 2, and then 2 regular. So you get 3 guardians, and then you actually need 3 guardians to make 1 thresher. So the end is actually 4 of that, 0 of that, and then 1 cost. So you'd still need to pay for turning that 1 chunk of guardians into a fused guardian. Use that with the given guardians to make a thresher, but thresher doesn't have a resource cost at least, so there's that. And then with that, then you also need to get 2 trombones, turn them into a fused trombone. So yeah, so if you pay the $10 or whatever for the battle pass, and then get the 2 trombones, pay the resource cost, then that would be your cost for the Omamori, the $10 plus wires. And to be fair, it's the same cost for the Griffin too. So I can even do, where's my calculations for resources? Just going to yank that calculation so I don't have to do it again. And we're going to say look up that. Oopsie. Going to some product that. It's gonna get angry because I didn't actually look up the right thing. And then we're going to look up the resources. And the resources chart. Pull up the value per. So that'd be your cost per. That seems low. I guess that doesn't take into account the cost of the 2 trombones and the 24 guardians. So there you go. For Xbox at least, that's going to be your cost in resources. But then you're also going to need 2 trombones. Okay. More math time, ladies and gentlemen. Shitty. So there's no way this is going to be the best way to represent this, but at least I'll still get the end values. So let's see. Think we can make the Guardians or Trombones because of the whole workpiece shenanigans. So people like me who have the workpiece for it left over can go and make a dummy amount of them, I guess. Oh, this is so much work to do the fucking math. God damn it. Don't know whether or not they're purposefully obfuscating it, but yuck. So where's work pieces? So Guardians at least are relatively easy. Man, nobody's asking for this. I'm not even asking for this. This sucks. Scrap wires, electronics, copper, plastic batteries. And they swap them on us. I guess technically the batteries I can just swap since we don't need them. Over there. So batteries, beautiful, plastic, beautiful, crafting cost. Whatever. Okay. So, for the work pieces, the cost of a Guardian is going to be those 2 sub-items plus that. Gets angry. I don't judge it because I use the fixed values, whatever. Gets angry. So we're going to modify the formula to be AC8 to AH8. And we're going to look up from AC to AH, and then we're going to add the crafting cost, which in this case for all of the rest of these is 0. And then that and that is the new calculation for that. And then the cost for the trombone, sorry, it's those, and then actually plus 2 blue items. So blue item is about 100, so we're gonna say plus 200 for that. And for the trombone, sidekick, which is about 300, that's about 400, that's about 300, so, well, 300, you know, between the two of them, because you craft them in pairs of 2, so it's going to be 1,000 plus these. So instead of 200, we're going to say plus 1,000. So that's the cost of making a trombone, which means I should buy up some therms to craft some trombones, since I totally forgot I had these fucking work pieces. Then of course everybody and their mom is going to get the same idea eventually, TM, and I'm sure we're going to end up with lots of scalping on the therms again too. Hee hee. Isn't that fun? Okay, so the cost of that is that, cost of an upgraded guardian is that, so I guess I could have actually been bit more clever calculation. Because we can say that that is equal to that plus that times, or making a regular one. And we can do the same for that. It has no base cost, but then it's plus that times that. So that's the cost of making an upgraded trombone, which is going to be 2 basic trombones, which includes the work piece. Oops. Which only really happens if you had the work piece, which only really works if you're here for the prior season. So again, it's just shafting people who don't buy the battle passes like 3 times over. Isn't that fun? So that's the cost of a single upgraded trombone, that's the cost of a single upgraded guardian. Which means right now the margins on the trombone on the market are actually fairly small, because it's going for about 1,500, but then you lose 10% of that to tax. So you're making $1,350 on something that costs about $1,250 to make. So yeah, really the only ones winning are the people who already had bought them ahead of time for cheap and are now flipping them, i.e. also me, but I didn't do that in bulk because of course I didn't know that this was going on. Then of course there's the moral considerations of doing so. So that's fun. So then the cost of a single thresher is going to be equal to these costs, which are 0 in this case, and then 3 times an upgraded guardian, which is that, and then the total cost for this is going to be equal to 4 times the cost for a single upgraded thresher, plus the cost of that, which is just 1 of an upgraded trombone. So there are your costs for making a single Omamori or Griffin. So yeah, it's pretty low just for the resource cost, but then once you include, you know, the 24 times guardian, so this should be roughly equivalent to that times 24 plus that. Oops. Yeah, crazy how math works out like that. Woo. So yeah, the guardians are by far the largest increase of the prices. So we can clear that. And there is our cost. this looking a little bit better maybe. And then our costs for the Vindicator will be just equal to 5 of those. Oopsie. I guess realistically we should still put this at the top. So it's just going to be equal to that times the upgrade cost of trombone. So you're actually paying more for those, which is funny because the Vindicator is only worth like a third of that, at least according to the market. And then Mori / Griffin with Battlepass purchase. And we're gonna have to shift everything down again. Yeah. And then that is going to be... what even is this? So, let's see, what did I say? I said you got 3 Thresher, 2 Guardian, and then 2 upgraded Guardian. So your total cost is going to be a upgraded trombone plus 1 upgraded Guardian minus the cost of 2 of those. So just the resource cost. And then, is that everything? What is it? They give you the 2 regular Guardian. You use the 2 regular Guardian to make an upgraded Guardian. You use the upgraded Guardian and 2 other upgraded Guardian to make the upgraded Thresher, which is the 4th one. So yeah, you just pay the resource cost to get all the Threshers on the Battle Pass cost and the cost of 1 trombone. So that is that in Xbox prices. There you go. So I could probably make a post about that as well. but first I should update the costs of the resources. That would be wise. Although, of course, these are gonna fucking balloon, I'm sure. Let's see. Cost for scrap. Yeah, still at about 0.11. Copper is 12.78 and 8.62, so about the same price. Wires is 26.45 and 22.5. Plastic is 110.5 and 82.8. Electronics is 14.79 and 10.1. Batteries are 5.22 and 3.79. So changes the price very little. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, the most of the value or cost just comes from, you know, crafting. So let's see. So Crossout, put it as tip/trick, and then say event crafting costs Xbox current resource. Item prices. Beautiful. Yes, really, I'm just saying I need to craft one of those and one of those. Ugh. Reposting it because I just changed one fucking variable. Whoop thing. Cool. Event crafting costs. Xbox current item plus resource values. Flare tip trick. Post it. Don't get banned for spam posting. Because I very frequently do this. If they actually check the mod log, like half of my posts would just be like, Bronzebreak has made a post, Bronzebreak has deleted a post, Bronzebreak has made a post. So, yeah, I think that is a pretty exhaustive look on everything in here. I guess theoretically, we could argue that the season comparison value for that is equal to that, or rather the difference between. So it gives you about 8,000 coins worth of value that you save by not needing to make additional threshers or whatever, but I don't know if I actually want to incorporate that in the values, because then I'd want to go and do that all retroactively for the other ones, and it's kind of hard to do that when the event is no longer going on these other ones, so it's kind of hard to track and math those values. But at least for the sake of this stream, I like to think that's a pretty solid look at everything that's going on with the update, I think.